The emergency klaxons screamed through Sector 7 of the Galactic Juvenile Rehabilitation Center as another containment breach flashed red across the monitoring station. Kael'thas, his scaled hide rippling with frustrated tension, watched the third maximum security alert in as many hours light up his display. "Status report," he growled into his communicator, razor-sharp teeth clicking with each word. "Subject 847 Alpha broke through reinforced barriers again." Azila's voice crackled back. "That's the third breach today. Standard suppression protocols are failing across all sectors." Kael'thas studied the facility layout, his predatory instincts cataloging escape routes and threat assessments with the efficiency that had made his species the galaxy's premier peacekeepers. 3 different apex predator juveniles, a Vorthak hunter, a Kelnari assassin spawn, and a Thraxi berserker, had simultaneously decided their maximum security cells weren't secure enough. "Deploy neural dampeners to sectors 4, 6, and 9, he commanded, "and increase guard rotations. These aren't random incidents." "Already done. Still failing." Azila's tone carried the edge of a warrior facing an unknown enemy. "Sir, there's something else. The new arrival from Earth is here. Human juvenile case file indicates minor assault charges." Kael'thas barely glanced at the datapad sliding across his desk. Humans, soft-skinned, weak, barely qualifying as sentient by galactic standards. Their entire species ranked somewhere between Altrurian fungi and domesticated Centauri pets on the threat assessment scale. "Standard processing. Corner isolation until we sort out this security crisis." He dismissed the human case with a wave of his clawed hand. "Priority remains our actual dangerous inmates." 20 minutes later, Kael'thas found himself staring at security monitor 7C, watching a small human female sitting cross-legged in the corner of the common area. She had sandy brown hair, wore what appeared to be primitive textile coverings, and was scratching marks on a primitive data tablet with some sort of chemical implement. "That's the human?" he asked Azila, who joined him in the monitoring station. "Mia Jones, aged 16 standard years. Assault charges from something called high school." Azila consulted her datapad. "Apparently threw furniture at an authority figure." "Furniture." Kael'thas let his mandibles click in amusement. "And they sent her to maximum security." "Human justice systems are notoriously inefficient," Vexthul observed, materializing beside them with the silent grace that made his species the galaxy's finest behavioral analysts, his silver eyes fixed on the human. "Though I find their punishment protocols fascinating in their complete lack of logic." Another alarm sounded, this time from Sector 4. The Vorthak hunter had breached containment again, but according to the tracking sensors, it had immediately retreated to the far corner of its new location. "This is unprecedented," Azila muttered. 3 breaches, and now they're not even trying to escape." Kael'thas was about to respond when movement on Monitor 7C caught his attention. The human had looked up from her primitive writing implement and was gesturing toward the nearest security camera. "Can you patch me through to audio on 7C? "Done," Vexthul replied, manipulating the console with 4-fingered precision. "Keep it down out there? I'm trying to finish my algebra homework, and all this beeping is super distracting." The human's voice carried the peculiar tonal variations that indicated irritation in her species. She held up her primitive tablet. "Mrs. Peterson is going to be pissed if I don't have this done by Monday." Kael'thas stared at the monitor. The human was complaining about noise during what was effectively a facility-wide security crisis. Did she just make a request? Azila's warrior instincts were clearly struggling with the concept of a prisoner making demands. Standard protocol would be to ignore civilian complaints during emergency operations, Vexthul noted clinically. But something about the human's casual demeanor unsettled Kael'thas. He found himself reaching for the facility intercom. "Apologies for the disturbance. We'll minimize unnecessary alerts." The human gave a cheerful wave toward the camera. "Thanks. You guys are way cooler than the vice principal." Over the next several hours, a pattern emerged that defied every principle of xenopsychology Vexthul had studied in his 12 decades of behavioral analysis. The facility's most dangerous inmates, creatures bred for violence, raised in combat, genetically programmed for aggression, were systematically avoiding the common area where the human sat, working on her primitive educational tasks. "Run the behavioral analysis again," Kael'thas ordered, reviewing the security feeds for the 5th time. Vexthul's silver fingers danced across holographic displays, calling up movement patterns, territorial distributions, and psychological profiles. "The data is consistent. Every maximum security inmate is exhibiting identical avoidance behaviors focused on grid reference 7C. On the monitor, Mia Jones was methodically working through what appeared to be mathematical problems, occasionally pausing to consume nutrients from a small container. She'd asked a guard earlier if they had anything that wasn't space food, explaining that she missed real pizza. "This is impossible," Azila said, studying the tactical display. "Look at these movement patterns. The Thraxi berserker, a creature that attacks its own reflection, won't enter the same quadrant as the human." "Maybe it's a scent thing?" Kael'thas suggested. "Some chemical deterrent?" Vexthul consulted his data. Atmospheric analysis shows standard human pheromone signatures. Nothing unusual by galactic standards. A new alarm sounded, not the harsh emergency klaxon, but the softer chime indicating an inmate request. The monitor showed Subject 847 Alpha, the Vorthak hunter whose containment breaches had started the crisis, standing at its cell door. "Patch us through," Kael'thas ordered. The Vorthak's translated voice emerged in the guttural tones of its species. "Request immediate transfer to solitary confinement. Permanent isolation preferred." "Explain reasoning," Azila demanded with military efficiency. Cannot explain. Wrongness in common area. Scent of Deathbringer. Must flee." The creature's agitation was visible even through the translation matrix. "Please, solitary confinement safer." Kael'thas studied the creature's body language, the flattened posture, the defensive positioning, the rapid breathing patterns. He'd seen identical responses in prey species facing apex predators. "The Vorthak is scared," he said slowly. "A creature genetically engineered for killing is requesting protective custody." "From a human juvenile," Vexthul added, his analytical mind clearly struggling with the data. "A species ranking below most domesticated animals on our threat assessment protocols." More requests flooded in over the next hour. The Kelnari assassin spawn begged for transfer to a different facility. The Thraxi berserker actually injured itself trying to claw through its cell wall, away from the common area. Meanwhile, Mia Jones finished her mathematics homework and moved on to what appeared to be historical studies, occasionally muttering complaints about Mr. Davidson's stupid essay requirements. "I need to interview the human directly," Vexthul announced. "These behavioral patterns suggest psychological warfare capabilities we've never encountered." "Absolutely not," Azila objected. "If she's generating fear responses in apex predators, direct contact could be..." "Could be what?" Kael'thas interrupted. "She's doing homework, educational assignments from what they call high school." He studied the security feed again. "Either she's the most sophisticated psychological operative in galactic history, or we're missing something fundamental." Vexthul entered the common area with full security protocols active. Energy shields, neural dampeners, emergency extraction beacon. His analytical protocols kicked into high gear, cataloging every micro-expression, every chemical signature, every possible threat indicator. The human looked up as he approached, her facial features arranged in what his cultural database identified as a friendly smile. "Hey there. Are you one of the counselors? I'm Mia. This place is actually pretty nice. Way better than detention at school." Vexthul's threat assessment systems screamed warnings that made no logical sense. Every instinct his species had developed over millions of years of evolution identified this small, soft-skinned creature as an apex predator. "I am Vexthul, behavioral analyst for this facility. I wanted to discuss your adjustment period." Chuckles. "Adjustment? Dude, this is like the nicest timeout I've ever had. Nobody's screaming, nobody's throwing things, and the food's actually edible. My high school cafeteria could learn from you guys. Your file indicates charges of assault involving furniture projection." "Oh, that." Mia rolled her eyes in an expression his database tagged as teenage exasperation. "Yeah, Mrs. Henderson, the substitute, tried to confiscate my phone during lunch. I was texting my mom about picking me up early because I had a dentist appointment. So I kinda tossed a chair in her general direction." Vexthul processed this information through every psychological framework he knew. "You threw a chair at an authority figure. Just a plastic one. And I didn't actually hit her. I'm not stupid. I just wanted her to back off so I could explain about the dentist thing." Mia returned to her historical studies. "But no, zero-tolerance policy means I get suspended for threatening an educator, or whatever." The casual way she described assaulting authority figures sent Vexthul's analytical systems into overdrive. This wasn't the behavior of a sophisticated operative. This was a juvenile creature describing routine territorial enforcement. "And this is normal behavior at your educational facility?" Laughs. "Normal? Dude, you should see what happens when they serve pizza on the same day as the big game. Last month, Jake Morrison threw an entire lunch table because someone cut in line. And don't get me started on what happened when they canceled the spring dance." Vexthul felt his worldview developing stress fractures. "Your species regularly engages in furniture-based combat over recreational events." "Well, yeah. I mean, what are you supposed to do when people are being unreasonable?" Mia looked up from her work with genuine curiosity. "Don't your kids ever get frustrated with stupid rules? Our juveniles undergo extensive conditioning to prevent violent responses to authority structures." "Huh. That sounds super boring." She returned to writing. "No wonder none of the other kids here want to hang out. They all seem really repressed." Kailtas found Vexthul in the observation deck 3 hours later, staring at the common area monitor with the intensity of someone whose fundamental understanding of reality had been shattered. "Report," Kailtas ordered. "The human is not a psychological operative," Vexthul said slowly. "She's not trained in warfare, not conditioned for combat, not enhanced in any detectable way. Then why are our maximum security inmates terrified of her?" "Because she's human." Azila joined them, reviewing the latest incident reports. "Every single apex predator inmate has requested protective custody. The Kelnari actually tried to gnaw through its own restraints rather than risk proximity to the common area." Vexthul pulled up a holographic display of human cultural data. "I've been analyzing their educational systems. What they call high school is effectively a combat training facility where they teach territorial warfare, resource competition, and dominance hierarchies to juveniles." "That's impossible," Kailtas objected. "Humans are classified as a peaceful species." "Peaceful by their standards," Vexthul corrected. According to my analysis, the average human educational facility contains more interpersonal violence than most galactic military training programs. They consider it normal childhood development. On the monitor, Mia had finished her studies and was now consuming nutrients while reading what appeared to be recreational literature. She occasionally laughed at something in the text. She described throwing furniture at authority figures as a reasonable response to policy disagreements. Vexathul continued. She finds our containment facility relaxing compared to her normal environment, and she's genuinely confused why other inmates won't socialize with her. Azila studied the tactical implications. Are you suggesting that humans are unconsciously dominant over other species? I'm suggesting that humans evolved in an environment so violently competitive that they don't recognize their own predatory nature. To her, this is a peaceful timeout. To every other creature in this facility, she radiates the scent of something that could kill them without effort or thought. Kael'thas felt his understanding of galactic civilization undergoing fundamental revision. The furniture assault that got her sent here was probably equivalent to a territorial display, a warning to back down before real violence became necessary. Vexathul's analysis protocols were running at maximum capacity. She's been conditioned since birth to compete for resources, defend territory, and establish dominance in social hierarchies. What we call juvenile delinquency, they call Tuesday. A soft chime indicated another inmate request. This time it was the Thraxi berserker, a creature bred by a warrior culture that considered death in battle the highest honor. Please. The translation matrix rendered its desperate plea. Remove the Deathwalker. We'll accept execution rather than share space with human killer. Mia looked up from her book and waved cheerfully at the nearest security camera. Hey, are you guys going to have lights out soon? I want to call my mom and let her know I'm okay. She worries when I'm not home by dinner. The paradigm shift hit the facility's entire staff simultaneously. Emergency protocols were rewritten, threat assessments were recalibrated, and every Xenopsychology textbook in the Galactic database was flagged for fundamental revision. We need to contact the Galactic Council immediately, Kael'thas announced during the emergency staff meeting. If humans represent an unconscious apex predator species, our entire approach to interspecies relations requires immediate review. The implications are staggering, Azila agreed. If their juveniles are this naturally dominant, what are their adults capable of? Vexathul had spent the last several hours analyzing human cultural data, and his findings had left him questioning everything he thought he knew about evolutionary psychology. According to their own records, they consider their species relatively peaceful because they've reduced their intraspecies violence to what they call acceptable levels. Their definition of acceptable includes organized territorial warfare, competitive resource acquisition, and institutionalized dominance hierarchies. And they don't recognize this as predatory behavior. They call it civilization. The facility had never operated more smoothly, with the human maintaining unconscious territorial control over the common area. Every other inmate had retreated to their cells and remained there voluntarily. Security incidents had dropped to zero. The medical bay reported no violence-related injuries for the first time in facility history. Mia Jones, meanwhile, had finished her educational assignments and was requesting access to what she called decent books, and complaining that the facility's entertainment systems didn't have any shows she recognized. She wants to watch something called reality TV, Azila reported with bemusement. According to the cultural database, this involves humans competing for resources while being observed for entertainment. Of course it does, Vexathul muttered. The communication array chimed with an incoming message from Earth's educational authority. Kael'thas accepted the transmission and a human adult appeared on the holographic display. "This is Principal Martinez from Lincoln High School. We're calling to check on Mia Jones's status. Her mother is concerned about her missing classes." Kael'thas struggled to process the concept that this creature's primary concern was educational attendance rather than survival in a maximum security facility. "She is adjusting well to our environment." "Oh, good. Mia's a smart kid, just has trouble with authority sometimes. Typical teenage stuff. We're hoping this experience helps her understand consequences." The human's facial expression suggested genuine concern for the juvenile's development. "How much longer will she be with you?" "That depends on several factors currently under review." "Well, just make sure she keeps up with her homework. She's applying to colleges next year." The transmission ended, leaving the alien staff staring at each other in stunned silence. "They sent her here for educational purposes," Vexthul said slowly. "They genuinely believe this is therapeutic intervention. And now she's asking if her time here counts toward her suspension, so she can get back to normal activities," Azila added. "She considers returning to human high school preferable to remaining here." Kael'thas made a command decision that would later be cited in Xenopsychology textbooks across the galaxy. "Release her immediately, full diplomatic protocols, and send a priority message to the Galactic Council. Humans require complete reclassification as an unconscious apex species." "Sir," Vexthul interjected, "what about facility security? The other inmates have only remained calm because of her presence. Then we'll have to develop new containment protocols, because if keeping one human teenager here accidentally, we've learned that the most dangerous thing in this facility isn't our maximum security inmates." 2 hours later, Mia Jones stood at the facility's departure terminal, her primitive educational materials packed in what appeared to be a textile carrying device. "Thanks for everything, guys. This was actually way better than regular detention. Way quieter, better food, and nobody tried to steal my lunch money." She paused thoughtfully. "Though you might want to work on your entertainment systems. Do you guys really not have streaming services?" "We will consider upgrades," Kael'thas managed. "Cool. Oh, and if any of those other kids want to talk sometime, tell them I'm not scary or whatever. I mean, I get that I'm new and everything, but they seemed really nervous. Maybe they just need someone to show them how to chill out." She boarded the transport with the casual confidence of someone completely unaware that she'd just revolutionized galactic understanding of predator-prey dynamics. As the transport disappeared into hyperspace, Vexthul pulled up the security feeds from her departure. Every single maximum security inmate had pressed against their cell windows, watching the human leave with expressions of profound relief. "Sir," Azila reported, "we're receiving transport requests from 47 different maximum security facilities. Word is spreading that we've successfully contained and released a human juvenile without casualties." "And tomorrow," Kael'thas said, watching the peaceful common area where no inmate dared venture, "she goes back to competing with hundreds of other human juveniles for educational resources in what they consider a normal developmental environment." The facility settled into an unnatural quiet. For the first time in its operational history, it felt truly secure. Somewhere in hyperspace, Mia Jones was probably doing homework and wondering if her mom remembered to record her favorite TV show.